Okay, today we're doing a firmware upgrade on a pair of NetScaler set in HA. We're doing a 10.5.51 to a 10.5.62.9. Alright, I want to show you is that on the primary NetScaler, we're going to log in as NSRoot. Take a look at the setup with regard to HA. You can see that NS11 is the primary, and we have synchronization state as enabled in success. We also have a set of actually one load balanced virtual server called colors. On the back end there's actually 3 servers that are load balanced between, providing green, blue, and red screens. So we'll log out of our primary and go over to our secondary, since that's where we're going to start the upgrade from. So log in again as NSRoot. And we receive a warning indicating that we're on the secondary node. Now before we do the upgrade, I want to copy the actual zipped files or the firmware files up to the appliances. That way there's no worries about network hiccups. So we're doing a secure copy. So we bring up our SCP tool, and what I want to do is create a directory on the appliance with the same name. So navigating not to the root, but we're going to navigate to the var directory, and after var go a layer deeper into the I believe it's called nsinstall. nsinstall will create the directory. Call it the rev of the build, and then copy our file into that. This is not a required step, but just makes it less prone to problems in the event there's a network hiccup during the actual upgrade. We're going to repeat this same process on our secondary node as well. Again, do an SCP session with it. Navigate over to our appliance, go to var, nsinstall, create the directory, and copy the firmware file into it. Again, so everything is local to the appliance during the upgrade process. Not a required step, but just for my own sanity, I want everything local. So this will take a few minutes. We'll pause the video, then come back. Okay, we're back. You can see that it's finished and that the file is copied to the appropriate subdirectory. We're going to go ahead and just close out of our SCP sessions. So both primary and secondary nodes have their own copy. Okay, we can see we're at 10.5.51.10. And what I'd like to do is confirm that we are actually on the secondary in terms of the master state. And that's correct. Okay, so we'll go ahead and begin the upgrade, selecting the upgrade wizard from the system. Notice that in this version of NetScaler firmware that it's a Java interface. So you need to make sure that the PC you're using has the appropriate version of Java. And this is pretty much self-explanatory. We'll just select Next, select the appliance for the source of the file, browse, browse to the var, nsinstall, build subdirectory and select the file. Select Next. Select a reboot after a successful installation, and then Next. At this point, the script will run internal to the NetScaler and start the installation. You can observe the commands down at the bottom of the screen there, and just sit back and wait for it to reboot. Okay, after the reboot begins, we'll lose our screen here, so we'll go to the, since this is a virtual machine, we're going to go over to the console and just watch the reboot process. At the end of the reboot process, it'll tell us to wait 20 to 30 seconds before attempting to log in. And we'll flip over to the web page and attempt to log in. Again, in terms of order upgrade, you do this secondary first. We'll log in as NSRoot. It tells us that we're on the secondary node. Let's navigate down to the high availability and see that yes, it says we're on the secondary node here. Notice that also the synchronization state is auto disabled. This is because we're running with two different versions now of firmware. Notice this one has been updated. So before we proceed, we're going to go ahead and make this the primary by forcing a failover. So we select yes after the failover selection. We'll do a refresh on the screen, and notice now that the master state of what was the secondary is now the new primary. So what we'll do is now just check basic functionality. We're going to look at our web servers, make sure that they're all three up, and then check our virtual. And we'll do a refresh on our virtual. We're doing round robin on the virtual, so it should alternate between the three different colors. Okay, that all looks good. So now we'll go ahead and proceed with what was our primary and log into that machine. And it's telling us now it's in the secondary role, which is what we expect since we did that failover. And notice it's in the earlier version, 10.5.51. And we'll just jump right into the upgrade wizard. Again, Java based. And the similar window we step through. So we select Next, select Appliance, Browse. We're going to browse to that var NSInstall, the build directory and the file, and select, and then select Next. Select to reboot after a successful installation. We do a Next and wait for it to step through the extraction, installation, and auto reboot process. Again, when this finishes, when it reboots, we'll lose this screen. We'll flip over to the VM console and take a look at the status of it rebooting. Alright, so 20 to 30 seconds again before attempting to log in. We'll give it a few seconds here. Okay, looks like it should be ready. Let's go ahead and flip over to the web page. What we'll do is log in again with NSRoot. Tells us that we're on the secondary, which is what we expected since we did that failover. And let's take a look at the HA status. So we see that it is marked as secondary. And yes, we're on the correct node. Sync is success and enabled this time. That's because they're in the same version. Now let's select action and force failover to make this again the primary node. We'll do a refresh for the screen. And notice now it is now the primary, but the sync state is in progress. So we'll do a couple more refreshes. Okay, so we have enabled and success. And let's edit this primary and set it to stay primary. Select OK. And we're back. Looking at the load balancing. Virtual server says it's up. That's good. Everything's green. Check our load balancing. Make sure it's functioning. Okay, everything is looking good. Okay, back on our primary. Thing to do is make sure that you save your config before exiting. And that wraps up our upgrade. Thank you very much for watching.